I'm so excited to be welcoming you to our first Senior Citizens Forum special. And in our Senior Citizen Forum specials, we're going to be talking to people who have retired and what they're doing with their life since they retired, how retirement has changed their life, and how they've taken their skills and taken them into different adventures, from volunteering to traveling to just giving back to the community. So we're going to start with my very first guest, and she calls herself the Pink Lady. She's really excited that she's reinvented her life, and you're going to hear us talk about that reinvention of her life in a couple of seconds. So let's get talking with the Pink Lady. It's time for a Senior Citizens Forum. I'm Janice Woods, your host, and this Senior Citizens Forum is a special, and this introduction to our specials, that every quarter I'm going to have a 2-hour special, and we're going to be talking about what seniors do after they retire. And I heard Robert De Niro the other day being interviewed, and he happens to be in his early 80s. And they asked him, when are you retiring? And he said no. He didn't want his body giving up. He was going to just keep on moving. So I think that's important for seniors to know that they can do that. I'm retired, and I have totally reinvented myself, and my guest today is Jackie Goldberg, and she has reinvented herself, and she's going to tell you all about it. Go, Jackie.
First of all, I must tell your audience that the name Jackie Goldberg literally in 1967 became something that I put in the attic. And I became the Pink Lady, and I trademarked it in 1967. Okay, so I call myself a spirited, and energetic, enthusiastic, exciting woman of 91 and a half years young, who has a positive attitude with lots of gratitude. So I tell people that I get up, and someone asked me the other day, Janice, what do you do the first thing in the morning? And I went, excuse me, I get up in the morning, I look out into my garden, and I say, thank you, universe, for giving me another day to help people see life through rose-colored glasses who are over the age of 50. Because so many people now, when they reach 50, it's like, oh my God, it's over. They haven't even retired yet. It's over. And then you mention the word retire. I say to people, when I ask, they go, I'm retired. I say, no, you're not. Why don't you just say you're beginning the second half or the third half of your life? Because retirement is so many, as you know it, Janice, is like sitting down, playing mahjong, playing cards, going to, it's like, hello. No. That is what we want to be doing. And there are so many more of us now, dear heart, that are out there. And I'll tell you about it afterwards, but do you remember Kermit the Frog?
Oh, yes. How can you forget Kermit the Frog?
I tell people, he's my very, very dear friend. And Kermit the Frog always says, I am green. And I said, well, I am pink. And we work it out. And there's a whole story too, how I got my attitude and how I became the pink lady. So whenever you're ready for some of that, I'm here to do it. And my reinvention into the world again for the last half of my life, I call it the last 30 years. I reinvented myself at 72.
I think that's just absolutely wonderful. I mean, because I'm listening to your energy, I'm listening to your enthusiasm, and you have to give, it has to come from within.
It does. And someone asked me the other day, what did God give you that made you who you are? And I said, He chose to give me my energy. And I got to tell you a funny story, everyone. I was 4 years old, white towhead hair, and my mother and I, who was 8 months pregnant with my sister, was standing at a bus stop in Boston, pouring rain, and the bus stopped. And he looked at my mother, 8 months pregnant, looked at me, little thing here with white hair and a little pink jacket, and he said, I am so sorry, but look at the bus. You have 2 hour ride down to General Hospital. We were going to see my dad, who had pneumonia at the time. And I don't know, somewhere, I jumped onto the stairwell of the bus, put my hands on my hip, and I said, excuse me, but isn't there a gentleman on this bus who let a lady sit down? 4 men got up.
See, you already had that in your childhood.
But I learned something that day.
Yes.
I learned never, ever let anyone rain on your own mind parade. Because that's our parade. And that's up to us to get out there. I wrote a book called Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life. And like you're talking about, people of an age years ago thought at 50, we were gone, Janet. People were gone. I can remember seeing one of my grandmothers at the stove with one of those little house coats they wore with a slipper, and she came from Scotland. And she just, was darling. At 57, she looked like she was 90, literally. And then my other grandmother, my mother's mother, who I take after, was like in her 70s, and like yourself, she was out there and doing and going and community service, and that's what you need to keep not only your age out of it. I mean, because age is nothing. I hate the word when they say to me, "You're 90? Oh my God!" Or you're 70, or you're 80. What is that going to do with it? It's what you're doing that counts. It's what you're doing to show the world that you're there and to help another person.
Well, one of the things that I liked about reading about you, it said, I'm booked to 100, and that's a year ago. And I like it because now I'm sure you're booked to 101.
And
Okay.
Robbie Martyr, as we all know, I say to people, we make certain choices in our life. I give motivational seminars, as you know. So one of mine is the choices we make create the person we become. When I was 16 and a half, I love those halves, Janice. Love those halves.
Well, halves become important again.
I know. I just love that. When I was, I think it was about 16 and a half. In those days, you had a choice. You could either go and get married, go to school, continue college, go to college, get married. That was it, literally. My grandmother, when I graduated high school, said, do you have a boyfriend yet? I mean, I said, no. I went, but within a few months, I did meet a very handsome Navy man. And he was 12 years older than I. And we got married at 17. So by the time I was 24, I had 3 children.
Oh my
Two,
goodness.
and suddenly my husband died at 32. Now, you can either become a victim or you can become a survivor. And I became a survivor. I never, ever let anything like that put me down that I can't get up.
That's amazing.
And a couple of years went by, and my mother and dad were just wonderful. They helped me while I went to school to become a manicurist. I got to tell you a story about choices, okay?
So you became a manicurist?
Manicurist. I went to school for 8 months, and I worked at Delmonico's restaurant as a head hostess. So I went to school from 7 a.m. in the morning till 12 o'clock, rushed and got dressed up, and ran to the Delmonico's restaurant in Hollywood here.
Okay.
And worked as a hostess with the mostest.
Of course.
Midnight, went home. I remember I was living with my mother and dad with 3 children and studied 2 hours, went to bed for 2 hours, got up again at 5 and went back and did the whole thing for 9 months. But
You
you
had 3 children.
3 children, and I was at that time 29, okay? And I met this phenomenal gentleman. And it was very funny. First of all, go back. So to say who we are sometimes, I got my manicure license. And do you ever hear of Mary Ann Bowser? She was a B actress who did acting on the side, but then she opened a beauty salon here in Hollywood.
Okay.
I got my license on a Wednesday night. Thursday morning, I got up, I put my little white uniform on, and I had my little carry case with all my manicure stuff, and I knocked on the Beverly Hills Hotel for their manicure shop, the beauty shop, to become a manicurist. So I walk in and I'm so proud. Here I am. I just graduated. And she said to me, well, in order for me to hire you, I need to have you give me a manicure. Oh, no problem. And I sat down. Now, all the ladies that are listening, and you know that when you get a straight manicure, with the massage and everything, it's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Talk about reinventing. And 1 hour and a half later, I was done. And I was so proud of myself, Janice. I was so proud. And I sit back and I went, I'm done. And I will never forget this. Mary Ann Bowser looks at me and she looks at her fingers and she goes, this is the worst friggin' manicure I've ever had in my life.
Oh my goodness.
I started to cry. Don't, Pete, don't even do that. She said, but you are so much fun. Your energy, the stories you told me while we're sitting here for an hour and a half, your excitement with life, it's there. My customers are going to love you, and I can teach you how to be a Juliet Moglen, which was the thing then. Manicures, you'll be the #1 in Hollywood. And she did. And she did. So that was part of the journey of learning, showing up, and getting my life into another segment. And then I met my second husband, who was 13 years older. And in those days, I liked them older, right? Well, I changed when I was older, though.
Why not?
And then this gentleman's wife had died, and he had 2 children, and I had 3. So I'm of the Jewish faith, Janet. And I went to my rabbi and I said, I'm going to be 30. I have 3 children, and the gentleman that I really love now, he has 2 children, and what do I do? And he says, well, how do you feel about it? I said, well, it's just another few hamburgers on the table. The rabbi looked at me and he said, you will make it. With that attitude, you will make it. And we did for 39 years. And then he died. So, I mean, and I can remember him saying to me when he got ill, remember Pink. And by the way, he was the one that did the Pink Lady, which literally in my business was $1 million name, the Pink Lady. And he said to me, remember one thing, my darling, that life is for the living and you must live it. And I did. I reinvented myself at 72.
70. I love it. And why not reinvent yourself?
Exactly. It was a time I had been he was a salesperson for women's wear. Well, he was for over 60 years. I did it for 39. And when I became a salesperson with women's wear clothing, my audience was all my buyers. And which was leading me, God was leading me on the journey of being an entertainer. And then their orders, when they gave me the orders, when they bought my women's wear goods, was my applause. So you see how different journeys weave in and out of your life.
Right.
So I reinvented myself at that age, 72. Now, I was not 39 anymore. So it's a whole new thing because I had the added almost, 40, 50, 60, 70, almost 32 years later. And I decided, you know what? I'm only 72. I'm going to be going to the entertainment field. Why not? You see, it's that why not that you and I have, Janice, that makes us who we are. It gives us the consent from the universe to say that we can do whatever we want to do.
Can do.
I decided to go into the theater and act.
I love it. Okay.
So we have a lot of stories about that. And the first one that I want to tell everybody is, I got to tell you a joke, though. I got to tell you, everybody, you have to hear my little joke. Okay. So this doctor and his wife was sitting at the breakfast table. And the doctor and his wife got into a terrible fight. I mean, Janice, terrible. Calling some name, whatever. And he stormed out of the house. Now he goes to his favorite bar and he's sitting there and he goes, that wasn't right. We love each other. I'm going to call her. He gets on the phone, he calls her, no answer. Well, maybe she's taking a bath or whatever. 2 hours later, he says, you know what? I have to call her. Gets on the phone, he calls her, no answer. Goes, what the heck? Hey, maybe something's wrong. Now, this is like 4.5, 5 hours later. He goes home, and there's his wife sitting in the kitchen, just where he left her, drinking a cup of coffee. And she's like all dressed. And he goes, sweetheart, I've been calling you for 4 hours. I want to apologize. What have you been doing? Getting a second opinion. So I say to people, make your choices count. And if it's not the right choice, learn by that choice to go to the next choice. So it's like Robbie says, it's all in the asking. It's all in the choices that you make.
Those choices you have to learn from.
Yes.
And then what's the song that Doris Day used to sing? You just pick yourself up.
Pick yourself
up. And start over again.
Yes, girl. Yes. And that's when I wrote my book. Get up. Get up and get a life that you so richly deserve. Because I say to people, what's the first thing that you do? And I say, well, I look out the window, all that. Then I go into the mirror to brush my teeth and comb my hair. Mm-hmm. And I say, hey, Pink, you're not bad for 91 and a half. you go get them. You have to love yourself. That's very important. You have to love who you are
It's
in
no,
order to.
and having an attitude towards it, because I know you have to be 91, and I know as you get older, different parts of the body,
Yeah.
I don't know what else. They're not nice to you in the morning.
Right.
Okay. But you have to go, I'm not letting that stop me.
No, no, no way. It was very funny. Uh, I wrote in my book, there's a chapter called Senior Sexuality, because I believe, I look at me, I believe that senior sexuality is alive and well anywhere, anytime, any place that you are.
Totally. So you must have loved the show, Grace and Frankie.
Loved it. Loved.
Loved it.
You see, they're of an age where they're not taking their an age. They're
Right.
this is just part of my journey. That's all.
Part of
And
it.
when I went into show business, I'd always like to be out there. Everyone, I tell people, I'm very shy and humble.
So how did you get into show business? That's what I would like to know.
I decided at 72 to go into the entertainment field.
Okay.
Saw that I really enjoyed different acting. I mean, seeing people act as well. So I started to look for a little theater, and I had my first production that I produced and directed called Rockin' with the Ages. I set up a 501c3 thing
Right.
called Star Power Productions. You only could be in my shows if you were 60 years young, 70, 80, 90, and up. No one under it got in.
I want to stop you for a second because you used a word that I really liked. Instead of saying old, you said young. I think that's so important.
When someone says to you how old you are, you should say, "Excuse me, I'm proud of you." But you asked me how young I am. And
Right.
the conversation just goes, wow. And then I tell them my age and they go, you gotta be kidding me. But you
Yeah.
see, we all want to grow older because that's part of life.
Right.
We don't want to grow old.
But you want to become that rare bottle of wine.
Yes, very much so. People just don't get it. Anyway, so
Yes.
I started the senior theater, Rockin' with the Ages, and then I enjoy acting. So one day, someone said to me, "You know, why don't you join a senior pageant, Miss California?" I got, get out of here. No, I'm not. I don't do that type of thing. No, yeah, I don't sing. I don't dance. I act. No, no, no. You got to be in the Ms. pageant. Okay, okay. So I sent in my thing, and they said, "Yeah, we would love to have you." Now there was in my pageant there was 23 women from 60 to 90. Now at that time I was 75, and I went in. I said, "Why? Wait a minute now. I don't sing. I don't dance. Oh, but I do act." So I took Shakespeare's monologue, "To be or not to be." That is the question. No, it's not. The question is to age or not to age. That's the question. I did that, and they loved that. Then we all changed into our gowns, and they began to, as people did their singing and all that, and I did the to age or not to age. As they had the end of the program, I was the tiniest one. So I was at the end. So as they're announcing the winners, I look out to the audience and I said to myself, Janice, thank you. Thank you, audience, for giving me the chance to show you who I am. And I'm stepping off the stage, but I forgot I was mic'd. And they said, first runner up, okay, Jane Doe. Second runner up, Very good. And our winner of the Miss Senior LA pageant is our own Pink Lady. And I go, oh shit. 750 people were in the audience, they get up and they applaud. And they all said to me, what and where can we buy that energy? Because you exemplify what aging in place is today. And I won. And I won. And that got me an agent. They put me in the newspaper, and an agent called me. Hey, I need someone like you in my casting thing. And that's how I began to go into acting. And I've been doing that since 75, 1970, when I was 75. So 75, 85, so almost 20 years. And I'm still doing it. I had a Super Bowl commercial that I'm rocking and rolling up there. It was a Loctite commercial. And you had to glue something on your shirt. And when in the Super Bowl commercials, they're only 32-second commercials. They're fast, as you notice. Mm-hmm. And the people that talk are the ones that talk about the product. So I didn't have a talking thing at that moment. I didn't think. I was just part of the group that was dancing around and all that. We turn on the Super Bowl commercial that day a few years ago. And there I am, right dead center, putting a little horse on my jacket, with glue. My friend, who's a big actor, calls me up the next day. How the hell, Pink Lady, did you get that opening right with you? No one gets that. You never even talked about the product, but there you were. He said, who were you sleeping with? I said, everybody and anybody. Anyway, that pioneered me into getting a SAG-AFTRA card, and that's what I've been doing ever since, which I love. I just, a movie of mine's coming out this coming summer called Give Me My Money. And it's about, it's a comedy jujitsu type, thing. Okay. And in the very beginning, the scene, he said, this is the most important scene of the show. The one scene, cameo shot, because it's going to set the movie. I need someone who's going to do it. I think you will, the director said. So I get on set, and this woman had a voice box. So I put the voice box up, and this rapper is really nasty to her. And someone, the lead, is going to jump and have a fight with him. And I'm yelling, yeah, go girl, you'll beat that shit out of him.
So when I was talking to you a couple of days ago, okay, you mentioned something about exercising.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that's.
I go now, it's 6 times a week. I'm on the treadmill. I go 3 miles, anyone that knows a treadmill. I go 3 miles an hour. I go 15 all the way up like a hill. Okay. And I about 325 calories, and I go 1.5 miles every morning. Every morning. I was there this morning. I was there at 7 this morning. So, and I'm queen of the gym. And they all come over, like you're just saying, how old you are. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ask. I don't know. You can ask. But ask me how young I am. And I'm like queen of the gym there.
But I think going to the gym and going up the hill and doing whatever it is you're doing helps keep you young.
And I'll tell you what else keeps you young. My man is 12 years younger than I am. We met when he was, let's see now, 12 years. We met when he was 68 and I was just 80. And he tells everybody, no way can I keep up with this lady? No way. And then someone said, all her husbands have died. And I also had a partner before him who died. And they said, Dove, he said, look, if I die, I die, but I'm going to die happy.
Hey, amen.
And to reinvent, to talk to your wonderful people out there, The word reinvent to me means reinvent, re-energize, recommit to doing something that you love to do. I was on doing a callback. You know what a callback is? You do an audition, and then if they like you, they whittle it down to like 3, 4 people. So yesterday, they whittled it down to 3 people to a new film called I'm Doing Fine. Anyway, doing that, I had to learn 3 pages of dialogue. Now, that keeps the brain going. That keeps you out there. That keeps us on a pathway that we're not going to get old, just better and older.
Better.
One more thing I must tell you.
Like that rare bottle of wine.
There you go. There you go. A lot of people don't talk about this celebration of life. I do. I went out, I bought a pink casket.
Okay.
I went out 9 months ago and bought a pink headstone, pink and black.
Okay.
Tell your audience what I put on it because I could. It says, the Pink Lady, Jacqueline H. Goldberg, wife, mother, grandmother, and great pink grandmother. And it says, it ain't over till I say it's over. September 3rd, 1932 to infinity. And I have 5 kids, 6 grandkids, and 11 great grandkids who are going to see that someday and say, you know what? She did it her way.
You absolutely are doing it your way.
Yeah, because no one would think of doing that.
And,
No.
and I love that you say it ain't over till I say it's over. I think that is absolutely one of the best attitudes to have.
And I say to you, and I say to everybody, it ain't over till I or you say it's over. Because we are the one to make that choice. We just are. We just are. And once we know that we like ourselves, even love ourselves a little bit,
Yeah.
you will make it in your second time around. Don't ever say retire. Say, I'm redoing my life. I'm reinventing myself. And look,
I know one of the things I have said to me is, when are you stopping? And I'm going, why should I?
best lady. I knew I could tell over the phone your fabulous personality. You see, because it comes across with energy, with love of what you're doing. I got all that before I even came on today. Because I choose where I want to go. I do not want to be with a down person. Because that pulls you down. You want to bring people up and you want them to have a good life as well.
And that's what I love about this conversation is that we're showing that people, you don't have to sit there and do anything. Just because you retired doesn't mean that you have to give up on life, okay? Just because you're retired, you don't have to just, I was into the volunteering and stuff, and I'm going, all the crazy politics, it's going to drive me insane with all these women. I wasn't into, like, a lot of my friends, like you said, are playing mahjong, they're playing bridge, they're doing all these things. For me, there's something else I'd rather be doing.
Very much so. Very much so. And look how you look. You look lovely. You don't look your age. And what? And I say to you, why should we? Why?
I have fun in saying I work out with a trainer several times a week, and I'm going, look at, I have muscles. Okay. And then I was telling you earlier about my aunt who's 96 years old, going on 97, closer to 97, and she goes to the gym 4 to 5 times a week.
I gotta tell you a cute story. A woman walks into the pharmacist.
Yeah.
the pharmacist, I want to buy a bottle of arsenic to kill my husband. And the pharmacist looks at her and says, excuse me, ma'am, if I give you a bottle of arsenic to kill your husband, I'm going to jail and so are you. With that, she reaches into her pocketbook, takes out a picture, and gives it to him. The picture is of him and of her woman. Now, the picture is of her husband and his wife in bed. And he said, oh, why didn't you tell me you had a prescription? The point is, never, ever give up.
No.
Ever not make a choice. Because you know what? Half is going to go good, half is not, but you want to take that chance that it will be part of your good journey in life.
So tell us, there's a couple of things I want to talk about still. All right. One of them is, I know you've written, is it a book or a couple of books?
One book I'm revamping the end because so much has happened in my life. I mean, I do so many motivational speaking now, much more than I ever did before. I do more movies. Dove is a veteran. I just joined the auxiliary because my other husbands were all veterans. And we do a huge Memorial Day with all SAG-AFTRA actors and everything. We do shows. It's just I'm doing more than I've ever done before. I'm just going.
Okay. So, I mean, if somebody wanted to read about you, how would they find out about you?
We have a program, a TV show called Pink, Pink, Lady, Lady, Presents, Presents. Go on pinkladypresents.com or on Sunday nights on 25.1 TV media. It's much easier for the audience out there to do pinkladypresents.com. You see like over 250 shows. Or if you ever need just someone to talk to, like Janice, you know her number. My number is pinklady7@earthlink.net.
Okay. We're going to have all this posted for you, so you know that. Where to find that. So that's really great. And we still have some time. So let's talk about, you gave something about, we talked a little bit about your book. Are we able to find the book on Amazon?
It's Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life by the Pink Lady. And I challenge everyone who gets the book, if you read the chapter on senior sexuality, there's 2 lines that if you find those 2 lines, you call me. No one has ever found the 2 lines that tell the world who I am. Yeah. Amazing. That book's been out. No one has found it. And it's funny. The other thing I want to tell people is that I also do seminars at hospitals for their senior groups. And I did one for Kaiser. And someone came over to me and they said, how do you have time to do this? I said, no one has time. You make the time.
You have to make time. Yeah.
There's all little things that people just don't get yet. But once you tell them, then they get it. In my show, there was a woman, and by the way, you can get that on YouTube. The Beat Goes On, We Are America. I did 10 musicals, all in Hollywood, and America Salutes Our Veterans. We Have a Dream, Rocking with the Ages 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I mean, it just goes on, which is, and my kids, when they call me Pink Grandma, we went to the show, Barbie? We go to Barbie. I took my oldest great granddaughter, who's 12, and we come out of the movie and she says, Pink Grandma, look at that crowd over there. It was about 40 people with their kids. And they're coming toward us. I said, don't worry, let me handle it. I didn't know what they wanted. They come over to me, there's like 40 women with kids, and one of them steps out and she goes, may we ask a question? Oh, well, of course, of course. Are you part of the Barbie family? And I said, of course I am. I'm her great grandmother. I was 20 minutes.
I love you. I love it. It's so great.
And my great granddaughter goes, hey, Grandma, are you a star? And I said, I'm a legend in my own mind.
Okay. Oh my God, you have to be so much fun at a party.
Anyway, it was funny. It was, but here I am signing autographs. Barbie's great grandmother. So
Barbie's great grandmother. I love it.
oh
But
my,
the pink. I think Barbie got it from you. The Mattel family must have met you long ago.
my agent, you got to put in for the part of the great grandmother for the next Barbie. So,
Right. Well, if you do that, make sure the men on the board are more women are
yeah.
added to it. Yes.
Oh my God, I'm crying with tears in my eyes. Janet, you are a delightful,
Thank,
delightful host. You know
thank
what to do. You know how to be a host with the mostest, and I applaud you for that. When I did, all in all, I did 375 shows. They were all half-hour shows, and they were all with people living well, all ages, mostly seniors over 50, actors, veterans, I mean, you name it, intergenerational variety show. And I found that you're similar to what I did. I listened. They were my guests. And I was like, and you are like Johnny Carson. We listen and we put in where we can. And that makes you a very excellent host.
thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming on my show. I'm just delighted to have you. I want to have you back on the show at some time where we can just have fun and discuss what else you know what else you're getting into. I mean, you didn't even mention half the stuff like being with Taylor Swift. I
Oh,
it's like that's another whole story. Yeah.
that was the musical video of the year. And all you see is this pink thing running around, and it's me.
And it was you. I mean, what a highlight. I mean, because she's so well respected.
She was so sweet. She said, I walked over to her. I said, how do I get in this a lot, with you? She said, listen, you're the eldest here. She said, whenever I go like this, get over here, we'll take the picture. And she did. She was just lovely, lovely.
Lovely. Yeah. And so again, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been so much fun.
And thank you for taping this show. Thank you.
Oh, yes. And I hope everybody has picked up some of your enthusiasm that you have right now, because more seniors need to have it. And I mean, we're given the pleasure of life.
Yes, we are. The gift. I call it, I said, every time I'll be 92 in a few months. And I say, thank you for giving me that day every day.
Yeah, and it is. And I actually have a rabbi that I've talked with, and I remember one of the things that you talked about, this rabbi talked about, is that we take for granted the little miracles of the day. And the miracles is the sun rising.
Yeah, yeah.
The waves on the ocean. I mean,
being able to breathe, getting dressed in the morning, getting up, going and doing things. I mean, it's
and appreciating it.
very,
And
very.
I think you're showing us how you're appreciating what life has to offer.
And it has to offer a lot, and you can make it and create it. You can create what you want to do, what you want to be. It's no longer that old age thing. You want to grow older in dignity, with respect, with honor, and with the knowledge that you have the legacy that you're leaving your families. That legacy is who we are, and we're giving it to them.
Right. And so that's important. I mean, you don't have to, people don't have to go out and be an actor, but you find what you love to do. And you find what gives you pleasure, and that will give other people pleasure.
And I still, someone said to me, Pink, you have a partner? I mean, yeah, I'm not dead. they just,
Wow.
they just don't get it.
And I think, and I just got married about 10 months ago. I was with someone for 12 and a half years.
I love it.
And we decided to get married.
Doug asks me every day, he said, do you want to just be buried in a regular cemetery? You could be buried in a veteran cemetery.
Oh.
And I look at him, I go, we'll talk about it. We've been, as I said, 13 years we've been together. And you know what? It's like, there's no age.
Yeah.
It's just two people. And I'm sure it's like with you, Janice. It's two people who have respect for each other, who have love for each other, who understand and are committed to each other. That's what it's all about.
And I know you have the other thing that's real important. You enjoy each other and have fun.
That's what it is. It's a friend. I have a friend.
I know.
Go to talk to him. He does helps me with my computer. And why not?
Yeah.
That's the question. Why not?
Sorry to say we're running out of time. This has been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed this interview. It's really great. We're going to have posted how to get in contact with Pink Lady. And
Goldberg is gone.
And I mean, I know I'm interested to see what you're doing next. So I hope many, many, many other people are interested. And please come back and talk with us again, because I love to have you and talk with you. It's just great.
Well, and congratulations on your new marriage. I think that
Thank
is
you. I know we count the months.
Yeah, that's right. I just want to say one more thing. We all have a story to tell. And it's not how you tell that story, it's how you live that story every minute, every hour, every day. And you're doing it, and I'm doing it. Please, God, your audience will begin to do it.
Thank you so much for those words of wisdom. I think it's so important. I hope everybody out there stays on for the rest of the show. We're going to have a couple of little other guests on this special that are going to talk about what they're doing in retirement, and we'll be right back. Thank you. My next guest is Pam Ball. And Pam and I have been really close friends for way over 50 years. I can't imagine her not being a close friend of mine. And we've gone through a lot together. We've had so many experiences, but her experience in her retirement is that she picked up and moved. She got married, and how she's learned to navigate retirement, and how she's taken in her previous lifetime and put to work and volunteering in her community. Well, welcome to my Senior Citizens Forum. And this is our special, so you're part of my special. I'm going to introduce you to everybody to my very, very special long-term friend. One of the type of friends that knows all the dirt in the closet.
After 50 years, I think so.
but I also know the dirt in her closet. So it works
that's true.
both
That's true.
ways. It works
That's
both
true.
ways.
We won't talk dirt.
Yeah. But one of the reasons I have Pam on today is because we're talking today about what do seniors do in their retirement. Okay?
That's true.
And we met each other 53 years ago, or a little more, okay?
Yeah.
When we both worked for the city of Los Angeles, okay?
Yep.
And we found out that we went to high school together and didn't know it because we went to
high
a
school.
big high school, okay,
Right.
with a lot of people.
Right.
And we knew so many people in common, but we just didn't know,
Well, we didn't
we
cross
didn't know each
paths.
other. We didn't
Yeah.
cross paths. Something we never crossed paths. But we instantly, with another lady,
Yep.
became a threesome.
A threesome once we were at the city of LA.
Right. And we've been a threesome to this day.
Right. We have.
Yes. Yes. So we plan on always being a threesome, bringing tears to my eyes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
a third person that can't be here, but it's always been
Right.
Pam, Janice, and Nancy. There was the Three Musketeers.
That's what we were. But one of the reasons I have Pam on today is because Pam started out like I did with the city of Los Angeles.
Exactly.
She promoted upward like I did.
Yep.
Okay. And then she did something that I didn't do. She went out into the private sector.
Yes, I did.
And then I waited and I did retire from the city of Los Angeles. But she went to the private sector, and to make a long story short, she went to work for a big engineering firm in the state of California.
And land use.
Okay.
Civil engineering and land use.
All right. So, and she did things like, she understands those chalk marks that are on the sidewalks, and she understands,
Your corner markers, property line markers,
all
subdivisions,
all of that stuff.
alley vacations,
Subdivisions.
quick claiming easements, you name it. I can do it.
I was always so proud of her that she went out into the big corporate world.
Right in the heart of downtown LA.
Yes, and I was in the heart of downtown LA,
Exactly.
but I stayed in civil service. But she went out, and when she finally, I want to talk about, what are you doing in your retirement?
Well, first of all, it was a huge adjustment for me. I'm a total city of LA girl, including, the designer purses and the shoes, etc. So my now husband, he moved up to the Western Sierras. We're just below Yosemite. So being a city girl with all that I just described and my corporate life, to coming up to a house sitting on 4 acres and knowing nothing. I didn't even know, I knew where the grocery store was, but I didn't know much. So there was an adjustment period. And once I got used to being up here and doing burn piles instead of going to a corporate meeting, that took some getting used to. So then after you get adjusted to living on 4 acres and the critters that belong up here, after that I decided, I really want to get interested in something. So we had a cute little bookstore that I went to all the time, and I made friends with her, and she said, we have 2 book clubs in this area, our little community, and maybe you'd be interested in one. There wasn't one in particular I was very interested in. So long story short, for a while until COVID hit when her cute store closed down, very sad, we met in her bookstore, and there's probably 10 or 12 of us, and we read a book once a month, and at the end of the month, we all dissect the book and talk about it and have a discussion for about 2 hours, and we bring snacks, and then after that, we talk and gossip. But I do want to say what's really important if you're leaving an area that a major change like I did, and you don't know the area, where's the dry cleaner, where's this, where's that, joining the book club of people that have lived up here forever, you can ask those questions to get yourself acquainted with the area. So that's one of the first things I did.
And also, where my husband and I got a lot of information, we did join a gym, just because. Well, if you saw where I lived, you'd want to join a gym.
Well, where
So
she lives is absolutely beautiful.
it is gorgeous.
She
It
has
is beautiful.
woodpeckers. She has
Bobcats,
I mean, all kinds
bunny
of
rabbits, snakes,
snakes.
squirrels,
Squirrels.
squirrels that eat my brand new patio carpet. Oh my
I
God,
mean, yeah, okay. So
we're getting carried away.
I hear this all the time because Pam's one of those friends that when you get on the phone 5 hours later,
We're finally hanging up.
we're finally hanging up. So right now we're together after several years, and it's been a blast.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, she drove up
Okay.
here, and I'm so thrilled to see her and
Yeah.
Leon.
So so what she's done, but what she's doing right now is that from her book club, she went and she became a member of the board for the libraries.
So most libraries have a friends of. So friends of, and then name the library, and that's probably throughout the state of California. So I was donating some books to my little local library, and I asked her, by the way, can I help you? It's a small library. Can I help you stock the shelves? Because I'm a book lover. And I said, can I help you stock shelves? Do you need help? Well, that's a civil service position. And she said, no, we don't have vacancies for people to help unless you become a civil service employee. And I said, well, no, I'm not interested in that. She says, however, we do have a Friends of the Oakhurst Branch Library, and I can get you in touch with the president. Well, the president happens to be in my book club, and her daughter is the one that leads it. So right away, I knew the two people. So our book club is made up, I'm the FOBL, we're a 501(c) corporation. So we have to go by Robert's rules. It's a regular nonprofit corporation.
Correct.
We are nonprofit. And
It's run by volunteers.
Yes, we're all volunteers, of course, because
Right.
it's a nonprofit. And I became vice president immediately because they had an opening. So I'm on the executive board, and then we have directors under us. We're all volunteers, and we have book sales. And I'm in charge of getting the volunteers that just set up the books in our community room. Some sales are $5 a bag, so that's a bargain.
Okay, so I want to know, how do you take the skills that you had
Oh.
working as in an engineering corporation and for the city of Los Angeles, all those skills, how do you put that to work for yourself?
Well, I tend to be anal and OCD.
Yes, she is.
It worked very well for me. So the job that I had working for developers in land use and land planning, you really, really, really had to have your organization skills top notch. So where that fits in with the Friends group, I'm well organized. I have binders that I put together with our board directory, the Roberts Rules of Order, that type of thing. And calling up people, getting people together to set up the book sale the day before, take down afterwards, work the cash box. But you really have to be organized, and you have to have a certain skill set because you're dealing with people face to face. And I took my skill set that I had all the years of land development and working with developers and attorneys, which takes a skill set, and I brought that to the organization. And I want to say to this day, it's served me well. So, and then that's another good thing, since they all live up here, I can pick their brain on where's the best dry cleaner and where's the best place to go. But I want to say it does.
And you need that good restaurant too.
Yeah. Where's to eat, what's not to eat.
Right.
So where's the jeweler? Well, they don't have a jeweler up here. There's no place to wear jewelry.
But they do have restaurants.
Yeah, we do. We've got a couple that are okay. So anyway, with the book club, which I really enjoy, I'm very involved with our local librarian. I have to print flyers that advertise our book sales, and I put them all around town on our various cute little village bulletin boards. I also print bookmarks so that at the sale we put one in everybody's book. And if they want to donate or become a member, it's on the back of the bookmark. And on the front gives all our upcoming book sale dates. So there's a lot of paperwork involved, which is what I was an expert at in my prior job. So I think I brought that.
Right.
That's my skill set.
But one of the things, if they wanted to build a new library, you could really help them
Well,
out.
okay, so
Yeah.
there was, of course, that all takes a grant, and we're not county. We just help our library. We help her with the summer reading program, with the money we collect from book sales. Her summer reading program takes quite a bit of money. We're in a county that isn't wealthy. So where we come in is if she's missing some money for some children's books and that type of thing, that's where we put a lot of our money. But we've outgrown that library. It's busting at the seams. So there was talk of our main librarian that heads up all the libraries in Madera putting together a grant, which we help with a little bit, but it's basically county property, so we can't cross over a certain line. So I put together a building committee, and we did some analysis just between me and some other people in our group, one that used to be an architect, one that used to be a builder. So we got together, and with my knowledge of code and knowing that the library's in a flood zone, well, how do you expand in a flood zone? So I had my own little building committee outside of our regular monthly and or annual meeting within our group. Unfortunately, it was a $10 million grant, and we lost it to another library that's more impoverished than ours. The population is more impoverished. So we lost that. No building committee. But we will. We're hoping maybe we'll get our grant, and then I'll reform the building committee.
But what I like what you're doing is you're working, you're stimulating your brain.
Oh, absolutely.
You're taking what you've known in the past
Yes.
and making your life interesting and challenging.
Exactly.
Okay?
Right. Exactly.
Which I think is so important to do after you retire.
Right.
And because
I
one of
agree.
the things people don't do when they retire is they don't plan, what are you going to do after you retire? Then all of a sudden you and the television set
No.
and the millions of things that there are to watch like us, okay, becomes your focal point.
Yeah, no, my television is not on.
Yeah. But I love that you are
very involved
in using what you've known.
Exactly.
Okay.
Using my skill set to what I'm doing with Friends of the Library.
And the community is benefiting from that skills.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
And not only is the community benefiting from what we give to the community, it also benefits me, even brain-wise. Let's face it, we all skip words and we can't remember something once in a while. I just goofed. It's also giving back to me, because it makes you feel really good when you give back to your community.
Yes.
So it's also serving me and my mental health, because you do have to know how to give change at the cash box when people are buying their books. And I haven't given change in I don't know how long. Yeah. So giving back to the community for all of you that are retiring, especially to a brand new area, I would look for opportunities to volunteer.
Volunteering opportunities are really important. They're out there. Please.
They're more than out there.
Yeah, we're starting to run out of time.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want any information on activities you can do, please contact us. My information is always out there to find me. And thank you for watching. And this has been really fun. Thank you for doing my special.
Volunteer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My next guest, I traveled across the country to see, and I needed to see her. Hadn't seen her since before the pandemic, and I really missed her. And she's my aunt. My aunt is going to be 97 years old at the end of this month, and her life is really inspiring, and how she, at age 90, picked up and moved across the country a second time in her life and started over, and what she's doing with her life. And she's just she is an inspiration. And I'm so glad I was able to interview her and put this on tape. Thank you. Hi, I'm here today with my very special guest, my beautiful aunt, and I'm going to cry. She will be in next month. She's going to be 97 years old, but she is such an inspiration. I don't know what else to say. She has made 2 major moves in her life. She grew up in Iowa. She and her family moved to the Los Angeles area, and then at the age of 90, she picked up and she moved to Alabama.
Yes.
And I am visiting her in Alabama, and I'm so happy to see her.
Yes.
And the reason why I have her on, because she is remarkable. And people that I've talked to, that I've met here in Alabama, all say the same thing. I read an article that was posted about her from the Recreation Center, and they said that she's a treasure. I remember that article. But let me start from the beginning with my aunt. My aunt became a nurse, an RN, back in 1948.
I graduated.
Yeah, she graduated and became a nurse. And at that time, she also became a mother, not too long after that, and had 2 children, and she raised them. And as I said earlier, she moved to California. But when she moved to California, I remember as a child, she worked in the hospital. And if I remember correctly, you worked in obstetrics. And I used to remember coming home and we would talk about how many babies were born.
Quite a few.
Quite a few. And for some reason, I always thought that was really, really interesting that you were helping babies to be born. Okay? But as time went on, she went back and went back to college, and she became at what they call the University of Northridge in Southern California. At that time it was, now they call it San Fernando Valley University. And she graduated in their very first school of nurse practitioners.
All right.
And I remember her going to work for the Board of Education, becoming a school nurse.
All right.
And as you know, as time grew older, my aunt, due to heredity, started losing her hearing.
Yes, I was 58.
You were 58, but she lost her hearing. But my aunt worked, after she retired, you worked with the people who had cochlear implants.
Right. And I volunteered at Kaiser in the oncology department to help the nurses set up and make the patients comfortable.
So she went, after retirement, she still used her skills, one for the people who with cochlear implant, but her nursing skills at Kaiser. That's correct? And I remember you doing that. How many years did you do that in your retirement?
Well, 17.
That's some people's whole careers.
Yeah, I did that until I moved to Alabama.
Right. But she did that for a long time. And that's with a hearing impairment. So if you know anything about cochlear implants, okay, which is telling me I need to have somebody come in and talk about cochlear implants on this show.
That's a subject in itself.
It's a whole subject, definitely. And her hearing loss happens to be hereditary, and I also have hearing loss. Even with her disability, she's been able to function at a high level for many years. She worked many years, she retired, and continued to work. She also, I remember one of the things that she did as a retiree, she learned how to play bridge.
Yes.
Didn't you?
Yes.
And I remember her going and driving and finding her way in different places in the Los Angeles area to learn how to go play bridge.
Right.
She found it really challenging.
Yes, that's a great game.
A great game. So, but just real quick, before I go any further, this is my aunt when she, get sure it's in front of the camera, when she graduated from nursing school in 1948, and that's me, believe it or not.
There were 3.
1948.
No, you were 3.
Oh, I was 3. She's telling me I was 3 years old then. Hard to believe because time does march on, okay? But now, about, I want to say 6 years ago, she moved to Alabama.
Yes.
She started her whole life completely over again.
Yes.
And that's challenging.
Well, it was fun.
It was fun because you got to find out where the grocery store is at. You have to now look for doctors.
Oh, everything.
You have to find out where you fit into the community.
And I'm still doing that.
And she says she's still doing that. But one of the things that I know this community has appreciated from her, that my aunt, all the years that I've known her, has always exercised.
Yes, even in California.
Right. And that's something that I believe in. If anybody watches the show on a regular basis, they know that I believe in exercise, okay? Okay? So you exercised.
I try.
You try. You're 96 years old, going on 97, and you're still going to the gym.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Well, I'm grateful for every day, and I try to stay healthy, because I know if you're healthy, you're happy. And I exercised at the YMCA in Los Angeles, and I started that after I retired, and I kept on going after I moved to Alabama.
Okay. And I know that from what she's been telling me and from visiting with other people yesterday that become part of her Alabama life, okay, that they talk about how everybody looks at her as a role model.
They say that.
Okay. And she's showing me how these people have gone out and they come and have dinner with her. This is all from the gym. They bought her this beautiful recliner. So they must really appreciate her.
And I am very grateful for those people. They have been wonderful to me when I have been ill and recovered. And my family at the gym is magnificent.
Right. But making that move and finding that new family,
It's taken a while.
it's taken a while. It's challenging.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's very easy. I have a wonderful daughter who helps me. She takes me and picks me up to the gym, and my son, and I'm very grateful for that. But it's the life at the gym that I feel is keeping me alive.
Yeah, so my cousin, who she's talking about, her daughter, every so often she sends me pictures of her at the gym, walking along the beach, and different activities that they participate in there with their Alabama family?
Well, there's all kinds of things. I use the treadmill. I use the machines. I go swimming. Um, I, I, I'm a little bit too old for yoga. I stopped that. And at the Zumba, I was doing that for quite a few years until I fell and fractured my femur. And I decided that I'm a little too old for Zumba.
For Zumba? I've never done Zumba.
Well, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's very
Well, I know as we get older, it becomes harder to move.
yeah.
Yeah. But if you don't keep moving,
Oh, you can't. You stop.
you stop. And I know that there are times when I don't move, as you found out. It's harder to move.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's why you have to do it almost every day, and some way or other. Either walking is great, or swimming is great, or even exercise or water aerobics is wonderful. And luckily, I'm able to swim yet, and I do some water aerobics, and you do have to move.
You have to move because I know sometimes I'll go, oh my goodness, this hurts.
You go anyway.
But if you don't move it, it's going to continue to hurt. But I just find you to be such an inspiration.
Thank you.
And you don't let not hearing. She also has macular degeneration. So I remember when she was still living in the LA area, the Los Angeles area, she had to stop driving her car, but she still keeps going. And what I love, she has a positive attitude towards her life. And she tries to keep as busy as she can.
Try. I try.
And that's so important.
I feel so. You need to be involved in something to keep you interested and going and getting up in the morning and say, gee, I'm so grateful I'm alive.
Yeah. And she says every morning to my grandparents,
That's right.
she says every morning to my grandparents, thank you for those good genes.
That's right.
And I say, well, how come I missed out on them? Okay. But I think you're doing fantastic, and I think you should be an inspiration
Thank you.
to people.
Thank you.
And I mean, if I'm hoping if I reach your age, I can still get in front of the camera like this and tell people, you can do it.
You will. You will.
You can do it. And she has support from her family, which is very important. But in some areas, you can find support from other people.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. There's different ways to get rides. There's different ways to get moving around. You just have to be inventive and look for them.
That's right. They're out there. They're out there.
Right. So I just think this is like, I'm so happy to have you on my show.
Well, thank you.
Mwah.
Thank you, dear.
Because this just means so much. Because, you know, it's important. I think it's important for people to know that you can do more with, even if you have other forms of disabilities, like hearing loss, eyesight loss. I mean, it's just so important to know. I look on her chair, and she has this big magnifying glass. So to do what? To continue reading.
When I go to the gym, there are people with wheelchairs that come. There are people in walkers that come to exercise what they can. And this, to me, I think is wonderful.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. 100%.
It is so inspiring to me to see these people who are able to come with disabilities Mine are minor, but theirs are major, and they are doing what they can to keep themselves going.
I admire that. Here it is, someone who everybody admires, and she's admiring other people. That's fabulous.
Well, I, I, that is how I feel.
And I want to, when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Janice, you will be better than me.
I don't think so.
You will be better than me.
I want to be just like you. Well, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on my show. I hope people find you as inspirational as I find you in my life.
Well, they will have their own inspiration.
Right. But lots of times when I do these shows, I talk about you. So I'm so happy to have you to share this with my audience, because this is my aunt that I talk about.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for being on my show.
Yeah, thank you for being out there.
Okay. My next guest is nothing but an inspiration. He and I became friends years ago. We both go to the same congregation. We became friends when we found ourselves working out together in the same gym. And we just had some stuff in common. Mr. Rob Feldman was a school teacher for special ed students. Then he became a realtor, a very successful realtor. And I watch how he gives back to the community in so many ways. I'm so happy to introduce you to Mr. Rob Feldman. Hi, I'm here with my friend, Rob Feldman.
Good friend.
Good friend. We've known each other a long time.
Really long time.
Yeah, we've known each other. Well, we knew each other in our congregation that we go to, and then we started working out at the same facility, and we became friends. Rob has an interesting background, and that's why I have him here today. Okay. In talking, I've known about a couple of Rob's careers, but he said he's had 9. So you're like a cat?
I am like the cat. This is the last one. You know.
This is the last one.
Right.
Okay. But we're going to talk about his careers, but I also want to talk about how you work with people in the community. Okay? I've seen Rob be an auctioneer.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Rob get up and do some comedy.
Yeah, to say the least.
To say the least. Okay.
Luckily, people laughed.
He loves to make people laugh. Okay. I've seen Rob do a lot of different things. His daughter has a show. I've seen him on his daughter's TV show. Okay, several times. And so let's talk about, what did you do before you retired, and how does it work with your semi-retired life?
Got it. Well, just to go back, when I came out of college, I was a special education teacher. The place I went to, University of New Mexico, was the only school in the nation that had special ed as a major.
Okay.
I didn't really know how it would work or how it would, be. I was very, very fortunate. I was blessed as a kid to start giving back. I had a cousin who was head of the Junior Blind Association.
Okay.
And that started I was in the 6th grade, I think. Okay. So that was like in the early 60s.
Yes.
So as a result, they had a lot of things happening all the time with these young kids that were blind. And I became very involved, and we did summer programs, and we did things where the kids would be involved. It was a great, I could go into a whole long thing, but that's for another day. So I just kept moving in the special needs world.
Okay.
And then I met somebody who was working with muscular dystrophy. So I went into that world. And you talk about making people laugh. I was a clown at all the summer pool parties and things like that.
I totally understand. I totally understand.
But what was so cool about muscular dystrophy, where these kids were admonished and they were put aside. People still didn't know what the disease was, and when we put them in the pool, they became like they were in heaven. I mean,
it's like freedom.
And they could move and they could do. And fortunately, I'm really going fast forward. So when I met Deb, she had also done stuff in that world. So she came in with me when the kids were born and got old enough. They came to the parties and became,
So Deb is his wife, and they have 2 beautiful daughters.
Yes, and we're entwined a lot.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
So with that said, it was almost natural for me to follow. I had brothers that wanted to be doctors and different things, and that just was not where I wanted to be. So I kept teaching. I kept teaching on the side. When I say teaching, I would work with all of these different, aspects. And that's when I went and visited. One of the schools was New Mexico, and they promised me the moon. And I stepped off the plane, and it was gorgeous. And I've got, dear friends that I'm still friends with back in the day. But with that said, I learned, a lot of other things too. Without sounding presumptuous, both Deb and I have been blessed. I mean, I was very fortunate to meet her after college, but to give back, that's just what I do, and I don't do it because I have to. I do it because I want to.
Okay. But now as a retiree, but you're not really a retiree, because Rob and his wife Debbie are very, very experienced realtors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's, we enjoyed it. Real estate was almost like teaching too. I mean, you saw when people would buy a home back in the day, the excitement and the fun of it, and how we do, and we'd have fun. And a lot of our clients we're still friends with. We do stuff with. I mean, we're taking a client to the ball game this weekend.
Well, how much fun!
So I mean, that's kind of cool.
And when he's talking ball game, he's talking the Dodgers.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Crazy Dodgers. I mean, my license plate, Dodger Rob, So, right. So, with that said, how do we do back? We are still very philanthropic, both Deb and I. And so I follow with Jewish Family and Children's Service, JFCS.
Right.
I'm in a group now called Jazz Angels, which we preserve jazz in the schools for underserved youth. That it's amazing, 380 kids a week and in different sessions, spring, summer, fall, and winter. And we've helped over 4,000 kids since 2007.
Very good.
But
you took all. Okay, we're gonna have to look out. Okay, that's what I was waiting for. Okay. You took all what you learned in the past.
Yes.
Okay, with your education from the University of New Mexico. And you've taken all of that, and you're now in your retiree period, you're giving it back to the community. All that experience.
Absolutely. I think the experience of it, because it's so, what's the word? Oh gosh. See, I'm having a senior moment.
Well, okay, so it's rewarding.
Rewarding, worthwhile, and we do it because to see these kids do what they're doing is just amazing. I think that one of the things that goes into today's world is take the Jazz Angels. These kids love to learn how to play an instrument one note at a time. They have self-esteem issues, they have this kind of stuff. And so what we've developed is a program so they can learn how to improvise themselves with the instrument they're playing. And as they do, they open up and they become human beings, and we're getting into other cities within Long Beach area that are very underserved. And in today's world, what really bothered both the founder, Barry Kogert, and myself as pres, is that these kids would hang around after the sessions were over, whether it be in the middle school, after school, and we had no idea why. Janice, they were hungry. And I'm saying in the year 2024, nobody in the city of Long Beach should go hungry. You know?
I mean, you're talking hungry, physically hungry?
Yeah, for
Okay,
food.
or hungry for knowledge?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Both. I mean, they love the knowledge. They love there because we treat them with the utmost respect. You know, their kids are from 11 to 17. And they have kids that are absolutely, you know, fine on that level too, and they end up mentoring some of these other kids. We just, and I'll tell you another thing in a second, but so we went and got a grant, so we give them boxed meal at the end of the session in the particular city.
That is so heartfelt.
I'm just saying, in this day and age, with all the craziness, we shouldn't have to worry about it, but we do. So that's a good thing. But so it is. It's worthwhile. It's rewarding. They thank us all the time. It's you know, it's that kind of that's what makes us still feel good. You know, let's face it. Everybody says, "Well, no." I love to feel good, even in my senior years. You know, I mean, for what we do and what we've done in life, because we're not done. We got a lot more to do. You know, Debbie. You talked about Debbie for a second. She was the chair of the 100-year gala at the temple.
Right.
And nobody had done much of anything. So back in January, Deb says, okay, I'll do it. And she does it with gusto and vigor, and it was a gorgeous event.
She does it, but you both give 100% to whatever you do.
Yeah.
I'm going to correct the 100%. They give 150% of what they do. And you can always feel the payoff for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the gala was one thing, but I want to go back to the children, okay?
Please do.
To the children who are going hungry, which is sad in this day and age that there are people that are going hungry. I understand it,
Yeah.
but it's still sad. But in order to get a grant, well, first of all, you recognize that they were learning so much from learning how to do the instruments. And I happen to know Barry Colbert myself, okay? So I know what he and his wife bring to the table, all right? But to take and recognize that these children were physically hungry,
Yeah.
and go out and get a grant, and there's a lot of grant money out there that's never used, okay?
Absolutely.
Right. And you were able to do that. As a retiree, you take the knowledge that you've had from your work life, from your education, and you've used it in your retirement, even though you're still selling houses
But
or
you're right.
buying
And
houses.
And we make time for this because we feel it's more than important. I mean,
It is
important's a
more.
good word, but it's almost necessary.
Okay. But like for seniors, okay, I'm a senior.
You don't act like one. You don't.
I don't
look
act
like
like one, but
You don't.
I'm
You
older
don't.
than you.
I know,
I
and you
know.
don't. I
Okay.
better be like you in the next few years.
Okay, right. But in finding out, my assistant, her husband had prostate cancer surgery, and he's young,
Yeah.
okay?
Rare that it's that young, but
Right. But you also work with men to help
Yes.
them understand.
yes.
So you just keep on giving,
You know,
which is beautiful.
thank you. It's very humbling.
Yeah.
You know, City of Hope asked me to be an advocate for, for this and talk to men that don't, oh my God, I'm going to lose my manlyhood. I'm this, I'm that. And I'm an open book. You know that. I mean, you know everything about me, I've had some health issues myself, and it's very humbling. So I know that I have I'm not going anywhere. And so we do give back, and it's rewarding on that level to talk to somebody that says, yeah, I guess you're right about what you're saying about the prostate cancer.
Right.
So, I mean, cancer is a dirty word. It's
Well,
and you have to.
I think it's a scary word.
Scary word, not a dirty.
Not a dirty word. I think it's a scary word.
I tend to agree with
I
that.
think you can't say C anymore
Right.
because of COVID, all right?
Yeah. Oh, that's.
But you definitely, from the time in our age group we were growing up, you said the word cancer, it was
Oh,
like,
my God.
it was a death sentence.
Right.
I mean, in today, I don't think it's so much of a death sentence, but it still leads to that.
Right.
No matter how far they've gone with advances in medicine. Okay.
And they're still, I'm one of the, or at least Deb tells me, when I know something's going on with me, I'll do something about it. And a lot of men today don't want to do anything.
Well,
You know.
because that comes from the old story.
Absolutely.
If I don't do anything about it, I don't have to deal with it.
Right.
But it's going to deal with you in the end.
And it will. That's why I said
Yeah.
I don't want to sound Pollyannish, but some of the other things that really drive me is that I have dinner once a quarter with my old high school buddies, and they're very half the glass is not it's half empty as opposed to half full, and they said, well, we only got 10 good years left, and I go, I don't want to hear that. For me, I can't process that. It's
Well, you're like me. I won't let whatever illnesses or
right.
whatever physical things I have going on define me.
Right.
I'm not going to let it, and I'm not going to let it stop me from continuing to live a full life.
And you're right. And going back to the Jazz Angels thing,
Yeah.
the other thing that I started, and we've got certified, is the teachers that teach the program, as well as Barry Nelson's staff. We got certified with NAMI, which is the National Association on Mental Illness. And so what happens there is these kids not only have the self-esteem issues, but if we notice that something's not right, we're not doctors, we're not,
Right.
So we partnered with JFCS and said, hey, if we have somebody on that level, we'll call and turn them over to them.
JCS is Jewish Family Services.
Right.
Okay.
And it's non-denominational. It's for
Oh, no.
whether you're blue, green, yellow, red, whatever you know.
Well, I know. I remember coming in with a client who had no support, who needed some support, and definitely was not Jewish. Okay.
Yeah.
And they were right there to help her.
Which is great. But that's
Yeah.
the kind of things that we have to do.
Right.
You're right. We've been very fortunate that we want to do what we want to do, and yet there's out there for people to understand. Because, we're having fun and we're laughing a little, but we do know the world's a little crazy right now. And so, we're not in our own bubble. We want to still go out and still help and still make sure that people can realize who they are and what they are.
Absolutely. Well, this has been so much fun. We talked about what I wanted to talk about.
That's good.
Okay. If anybody wants any information on how to get a hold of Rob, we're going to have that listed.
Okay.
And because Rob is a wealth of information.
Thank you.
Okay.
And be more than happy to. I always an
Yeah.
open book. Let me tell you.
Yeah. And, he's talking about, muscular dystrophy and working with children. He's talking about working with men who've had prostrate issues. He knows how to go about doing these different things for the community. And we're going to definitely have your information posted. Thank you so much for your time and coming on as Senior
You're
Citizens
welcome. I'm honored
Forum.
I'm humbled that you want me to sit with you.
Oh, no, because
So-
I know, I want seniors to know that just because you're retired, life doesn't end.
Absolutely.
And just because you may have some kind of an ailment, 1, 2, 3, I mean, I have many, okay? Right?
But you never know. See, that's
But
what
I'm
what I
not
love
going to
about
let it stop.
No.
No, I'm not going to let it define me.
Yeah, that's a great way to yeah.
Yeah, and I had my neurologist said, I wish I had more patients like you.
That's so cool to hear.
Yeah, because I'm not going to sit there and all of a sudden become a vegetable over something. I'm going to not define me. And that's what you've done, because I know your background.
Yeah.
And I talk a lot about stuff on here. on
You
the
do.
show.
It's great. Love it.
I mean, I feel like I'm an open book with that. So thank you again very
You're
much for
welcome.
being
Welcome
here.
for
And
thanks.
I hope everybody, you enjoy our special. Thank you.
Thank you.
My next guest is Diane Merrick, and I've always known Diane. Our children are about the same ages, and we've always I've always watched Diane work as a school teacher and give so much back to the community. But when she retired, she went into doing artwork. She went to working with fusion glass. She's taught other people how to work with fusion glass. And let's see what her fusion glass looks like. Okay, hi. For our special right now, I have Diane Merrick here. I've known Diane for I don't know how long, but we've known each other with our children. I remember when her daughter was like a counselor, and the boys would go off with her and do different things.
Okay.
Yeah, I can remember that from way back when. But Diane used to be a school teacher for 33 years at the same elementary school. That's
Correct.
very dedicated.
It was my job.
Well,
Every year was a new job.
every year you had a new group of
Right.
students, yes?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And since she's retired, we're going to now talk about what she's doing in retirement, how she's taken those skills from being a teacher, and she talked about being a mentor.
Yes.
You want to talk about your experience
Sure.
being a
When
mentor?
I retired in 2005,
Yeah.
okay,
That's when I retired.
decided to join Operation Jumpstart's mentor program in the city of Long Beach. This particular nonprofit works with students who have potential for higher education, but their parents had not had formal education. So I was with one student for 5 years, and now she has, I think, a PhD,
Oh, that's great.
or at least a master's.
That's definitely self-rewarding.
Yes,
That you feel good that you're giving back to the community, and you see what paid off where they now have a master's.
right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
right.
really good. But Diane also, when I'm looking around my surroundings, is an artist.
Thank you.
She's a photographer.
Oh, with my iPhone, yes. I do like to take pictures of nature.
Yeah, and I see her post that all the time up on Facebook,
Correct.
different pictures, because she also travels.
Yes, done a lot of traveling with my husband since we retired. We did a lot of cruises at one time and saw different parts of the world. And every summer we go to Hawaii because we ended up buying a timeshare years ago. It's been good for us, but we enjoy being together. That's my husband and I, and experiencing different locations.
Yeah, and I've known her husband. I remember being with her husband going downtown Los Angeles,
yes.
and we would be on what they call the
Imagine.
Blue Line, which was,
Ah,
a train, which was unique at that time for the Los Angeles area, Southern California area.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
that was,
Well, you know my family.
I know your family, yes. Okay. But I have, you can see some of the pieces behind me here. It's some beautiful artwork. I mean, I'm looking all over Diane's house, her backyard. Her artwork is everywhere. And I'm going to move my chair. Okay. And Diane, you want to show us first these sketches?
Oh,
They're
okay.
beautiful.
Usually when I go on a trip, I'll take a sketchbook, and I have different media. This was oil acrylic. I never know what I'm going to do. This one started out as one picture, but I didn't like the center of it, so I created this underneath it. I just never know what I'm going to do. And here's one, I did both sides, and it was kind of fun. And that is that book.
Okay, you want to show another book?
Sure.
Here we go. Let me get it. And what I like about it, Diane also works in glass, and she loves bold colors.
I guess I'm more of an abstract artist, I would say. Realistically, it's tough for me to do shadows and all that, so I work with shapes and colors.
Now, when you were a school teacher, did you do some of this craft work with your students?
Oh, I do creative projects.
Yeah.
Nothing like this. But you know what? I go on Facebook and they have a lot of reels, you know, at the end of
Right.
what you see that's addressed to you. And I've gotten some ideas. And this is just something I don't want to share.
Well, that's a pretty landscape. Yeah.
So, very abstract. And I think that's about it.
So when you were teaching, did you
Yes.
know, or when you went to college, that you have these artistic talents?
I always liked art as a young child. Growing up, yeah. But I guess I finally have given myself some time to explore, to be creative.
And that's the good thing about being retired.
Oh, yes, yes. You do have a lot of time, but you have to decide and plan what you're going to do if you want to be active.
Right. And as I retired when you retired, same thing in
Long
2005.
time ago.
Okay. And I found that this is fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you're fun to be with.
Right, thank you.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
it's fun to find out what other people are doing in their retirement, what talents they may not even know they have. Because if you would have asked me 10 years ago I would be doing something like this, I would have been shocked.
Well, you got the personality for
Right.
it. What would you like to see?
I would look at this beautiful.
Pendant.
It's a pendant that you could put on. I wore the wrong kind of a top.
It's okay. But it goes with your nails.
It definitely goes with my
Yes,
nails.
yes.
Okay. And it's really pretty.
Here are a few more.
Oh.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's got iridescent
Oh.
colors in it.
It's so pretty, and it goes, we put it up against you turn like this, and I'm going to put it up right here. See more against the black?
Right,
It
right.
really picks up the iridescent.
Right, and I purchased my own kiln, so I do have it here to be able to start and finish my work. Right.
Yeah, that's really good. Let me see if I can find another one I like this. It has a lot of pinks in it. Pinks is a popular color for this year. So, I don't know if
Maybe
you know
you
this.
want it.
Yeah. Look how pretty that is. Actually, I may take that. Okay. It's really pretty. Oh, here's one. Maybe that will stand out against where I
I
come.
think that's for a very tall woman, although maybe not.
Maybe not, but it stands out. I don't know if you can tell on the camera all the beautiful colors. But let's go to some of your bigger pieces,
Okay.
okay? I love this blue. Everybody
Well-
see? Oh my goodness, look at, I'm putting it up here with the lights on it. It has a completely different look.
You know, that's
If
one
I
of
put
the,
it here, it's a darker look.
I made that a long time ago when I took a class at ABC Adult School for glass fusing. And I think it was called a starburst. I think I started in the center and moved out. And you can just layer it a certain thickness and then that's it. But I never know what it's going to look like when I put it in the kiln.
So therefore, you don't have anything in mind when you start putting it together?
I do make some plans. It's a geometric design. I make plans.
Well, let's go with the geometric design. I want to go with this geometric design right here. Everybody see the geometric designs?
Yeah, I guess I was in this phase of creating squares and making each square look a little different.
Yeah.
You could put that out in a garden with a stand or put it in a stand like this.
Okay. So I'm gonna get up, and I don't want to break anything, This is a beautiful piece of blue artwork right here in a white frame. Can everybody see that? It is really pretty.
Supposed to be the ocean, right?
Yeah. I mean, artists always have their interpretation. I'm looking at this and I see a sailboat on the water.
Yes, yes.
Okay? Very pretty. And then over here, I mean, there's so much stuff. And we're going back to the geometric designs.
The frames or the stands are bought online.
Okay. So this is all really pretty. And here's another piece in a frame with the geometric designs.
I have made a series of that. It's hard to see the colors, but there it's lavender,
Right.
clear, and gold.
Yeah,
And
some
purple.
browns, brownish golds, blue, lavender, but it's very pretty. So Diane, I
Yes.
know I've seen, and I haven't been to any of the places where your artwork has been on display.
Right.
So have you sold pieces?
I just sold pieces from my home. I have participated in a few shows, but not many.
Not many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I just make to have as my own. If someone comes over and says they want it, they want to buy it, I will sell it.
Okay. So if somebody happens to be watching it, we're going to post your information.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And if they were interested in buying something from you, they would be able to contact you
Right.
or me, and I can always tell them how to contact
Or
you.
give me an idea of what the color palette is. Yeah, I'd love to do that for you.
I think
been
that's,
fun.
I mean, this has been fun. I keep looking at different things.
Let me show you this one.
Oh, which one did I miss? Oh,
Oops, sorry
let's
about
see what
that.
other interesting stuff she's got right
Yeah.
here.
I have this one.
Yeah.
You can
Oh,
have it
those colors really stand
horizontal
out.
or diagonal.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I like this one
Oh,
because it's 3D.
definitely.
If you want to make shapes stand out, you do something called tacking, where it's not full fused, but it retains its shape.
But one of the things that's really interesting, she's got all this geometric design, and along with it, she has different color stones.
Well,
I don't know if you can see that, but the stones are really beautiful.
They're glass.
They're glass.
Yeah.
And that makes the piece even more interesting.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to show
Oh,
us?
this is a different one.
Oh, this got greens.
I really don't know how I got this color palette, but I quite like it. A lot
It's
of pastels, bright yellow.
bright greens.
See how it changes?
Each piece you can tell is completely unique. Very pretty.
And I think that's about it. And oh, there's one more.
There's a little tiny piece over here.
I do have a lot of like scraps, so I've made tiny little pieces, and I can put this in one of these frames and then have it stand out, and it could be on display.
Okay.
Yes.
And of course, we didn't pick up this big piece right back here.
Now that's a favorite one of mine. That took a lot of time because I used scraps and I rearranged them, and then I figured, oh, it looked like an oval. So I created it into somewhat of a sun style piece. I love it.
I mean, everywhere I look around Diane's house, there's something different to look at that she's created. I see a piece in her backyard that's very creative.
Thank you.
But this is one of the things you can do is find, what your interest is, go out and work with it and make your life interesting as a retired person. Thank you, Diane,
Oh, you're
for
welcome.
sharing.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming to my home and interviewing me.
I love doing this. Yeah,
Have fun.
because I know you have something very unique here.
And you know what? I wouldn't mind having people over and I could show them a few tricks with glass.
What a great invitation. Thank you very much for
You're
joining
welcome.
the Senior Citizens Forum, and I hope to talk with you soon on the forum. Thank you
will.
so
Thank
much.
You. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching our special. I hope you enjoyed it. If any you have anybody that you think would be interesting to be on our next specials that are coming up, please have them contact me. I love to talk with them because I love to hear about what senior citizens are doing in their retirement golden years. Thank you for watching.